They say it's terrorism, that's political malarkey. Just follow where the money goes to a corporate oligarchy. The food crops they once grew with a plow and a hoe been turned into opium poppies, growing row on row. Our infrastructure's crumbling, our social structure too. It's a corporate scam, they don't give a damn while screwing over me and you. No public outrage, I don't hear no public cry about sending young men and women where empires go to die. We lost people and treasure in Vietnam and there still ain't no upside.
If you would like to hear Night Dreams Talk Radio on your local radio station, let them know. Tell them to check out www.nightdreamstalkradio.com and thank you. Do you have a paranormal story you want to share on Night Dreams Talk Radio? You could be a guest. Email us at nightdreamstalkradio@gmail.com.
Good evening or morning, depending on your time zone. From the Pacific to the Atlantic to you worldwide. Get yourself a cup of Java and find a comfy, easy chair. And get ready for Gary and his guest on Night Dreams Talk Radio After Dark. And now, here's Gary.
And here I am on Night Dreams Talk Radio After Dark. Check out our website at www.nightdreamstalkradio.com. Hey, if you feel generous and want to donate $1 or $2 to help pay for the bandwidth, it does more than that. All our past shows are free to listen to. There's around 400 and some shows you can listen to, and it doesn't cost you anything. I mean, you could listen to each show each night and listen to a different one for over a year and help you sleep at night. And by the time you get down to all of them, well, guess what? You're going to have a whole bunch of new ones to keep. It's a never-ending cycle. So tell your friends about Night Dreams Talk Radio, please. You'll find us both on the internet and terrestrial radio. You know, I still keep thinking about Christmas. You know, when I was young, you know, many years and years ago, you know, like when they invented the wagon wheel, you know, we had our Christmas tree. We'd go out and find a tree, and, you know, occasionally we'd get a bummer tree. You know, early on, you know, working in radio stations, sometimes I didn't make the best, you know, moolah. And the trees were very sparse. But you know what? With 8 children, we always made it special. You know, even if there wasn't a whole ton of presents underneath it. But it was the thought of us being a family, being together. And that's how it should be. You know, the number one thing is not what you give somebody as a gift. It's just being a family and showing that you love each other. Tell your kids, tell your wife, or your wife telling you that they love you. And, you know, if you ever get mad at somebody, like my mom always said, don't go to bed at night, you know, without saying, hey, I'm sorry, and try to work it out, because you never know. That could be that person's last night on Earth. Anyway, James, are you still with us?
I am still here, Mr. Gary. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. And you know what? It wasn't that bad. It was a good interview.
Yeah, it was really good. Really intriguing.
Yes, you know, and I think I asked the right questions, and we got the right answers. The answers I expected and wanted.
Yeah, I don't know how I would have handled it 3 or 4, but that's somewhere along the line. That's got to be trying. I would think. Well,
if I go back to when I was 3 or 4, I remember that. I remember the pajamas I loved and my robe and all that stuff. I remember going back to about probably 2 years old. Not a lot, but it's little things. I can't remember where I put the car keys, but I can remember certain things. But I can tell you, if I was being visited myself, okay, it would have upset me so much. I would have went to my mom, not to my dad, because my dad was a little bit cold, but my mom was warm and caring. And I would have told her, hey, something, Mom, these things are, I couldn't have kept it quiet. That's the only thing I felt uncomfortable about. I just feel like a 4-year-old can't keep that quiet. It's something I just don't think. After I have 8 kids, none of them could keep a secret at 4 or 5 years old.
No, and at 3, 4, 5 years old, a child like that, they shouldn't be approached by something and the thing is, even if they give it a choice, are they at the age to make that decision to go with these aliens? I don't think so. It's just
no.
I don't know.
Because look at the court system. A kid at 13 years old can go commit a horrible crime, right? But our court system says at 13, under actually 18, but when they get close to 17 or 16, they kind of treat them like adult. But at 15 and under, most states in this country will treat them as a child. And they realize, especially at around 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years old, they don't really know what's right and wrong. So how can they make a decision? That's all I'm saying is, I mean, it's I don't know.
Well, here's my other point I want to make. Now, these beings have been coming here for, I don't know, thousands of years. You think over time that they would, and being so technically and advanced and mentally in all these aspects, you'd think they would know that by doing that it would be wrong, at least by our standards, and maybe they don't care, or they still do it anyway, or they do it because they can get away with it. These are all kind of questions that pop in my head anyway.
Well, I mean, what can a 4-year-old, what information can you teach a 4-year-old? That's before kindergarten. What type of information can you teach them, and what do you expect them to actually learn? At 4 years old, they're not going to learn anything major. And what information can they really share back to you?
Right. It sounds more like an early gestation for manipulation or implants or experimentation or whatever.
Yeah. It's just, you hear there's 2 camps out there, and I don't know which is right or which is wrong, okay?
Right.
But you got these one camps that come back and say these humanoids that's coming to our planet are here to help us, okay? Well, again, how many times has this planet maybe been rebooted? Well, they haven't stopped it each time. They let it happen. So if they're here to help us, then I think they should have stepped up and said, hey, look, you've already been rebooted several times. How many times does this human race have to be, started over again? I would think the fastest way to do it is to land a craft, let themselves be known, like the day the Earth stood still, shut down where the tanks can't fire, the weapons won't work, and broadcast on every frequency of the radio, TV band, cable channel, and say what they need to say. And say if you don't shape up, you're gone. You're history. And I'm sure that they have those capabilities. Why aren't they doing it? They're not.
Right. And these are, I agree with you. These are good points. And this isn't a one of. This has been going on for Lord knows millennia. So it's they've had many of opportunities. And the other curveball in this, who knows how many different factions or species of these beings is out there.
I don't call them species. Okay, species are like fish or bugs and stuff. Humanoids, okay, because there's
humanoids.
Yeah, humanoids. How many humanoids? We don't know. But you go on to Calvin Parker. You go on to Terry Lovelace, Dave Edmonds. Now he's another one that falls in the other camp. But there's a lot of them out there that says that they're warm and fuzzy. They're here to protect us. Okay, well, they're not doing it. What knowledge are they giving these people? I asked tonight. I didn't hear it. I asked, what are they here?
You did.
And I didn't get any answers I expected to hear.
You did ask. And my question is it not plausible or possible that these humanoids could be manipulating our thoughts into what we want to think about them and relay back to the public? Is that plausible?
Well, maybe, again, they're just feeding us, propaganda, too. It could be. I don't know. I have not been contacted and told, that they're here to serve man. I mean, I don't know. Like I said, I'm confused. There's two camps. You hear Terry Lovelace tell a horror story. I got a guy coming on here in a couple weeks, I think around the 13th of January, somewhere around there. It was abducted on a UFO where all these people were on these, tables, and they were cutting them open and removing things and doing things to these people. They weren't returned. Why did they return some people and not others? Why is there human mutilation? Why is there cattle mutilation? I mean, if they're letting themselves be seen, they have been seen for the last who knows how long. I mean, they've been seen for a long time. But yet, look what's going, like I said earlier, what's going on in Antarctica, what's going on in Australia, what's going on, on our own country. Look what's happening in, was it Nova Scotia or somewhere like that, where a town is going underwater slowly. Some people say, oh, well, they're going underwater because they pumped out too much water. That's one of the replies I got off of my Facebook on that posting, is that they pumped too much groundwater and it's caused it to sink down. Well, you know what? No, they're right by the ocean. And no, I don't think the ground is sinking in. It's a proven fact that the water level is rising. Even here, where I'm at, okay, down at the compound, we're surrounded by salt water. It comes from the ocean. We're next to Bangor. We're next to, that's a submarine base. We're next to Bremerton Naval Shipyard. But here, even on some of these little islands around the, between Washington State and Canada, they've noticed the water level is starting to come up a little bit. And it's caused some really rich people's homes to kind of the banks of war, from the water rising a little bit, and where they lost their homes. But people are in denial, and they can make up every excuse in the world. But something is going on. But why aren't we being helped? All it would take is if these people are being communicated with. I'm not talking the guests tonight, okay? I'm talking about all the people we've had on for the last 2 years that it says that they're warm and fuzzy and they're here to help man. Why haven't they helped us? Going up and telling me or telling you, James, isn't going to fix the situation, is it?
No, and that's another good point. Why, if they're trying to relay messages and teach people, why wouldn't they do it with people? Because obviously they're time travelers; they can see some of the future. Why wouldn't they implant this with people that's going to be like heads of power or have some kind of pull where they can do things? Right,
like government officials high up, instill into them, that hey, or why aren't they being abducted and showing what our Earth is coming to the end is like, but that's not happening. So I don't know. I got mixed feelings on this, okay? I do feel that, yes, we're being visited. Yes, I think that maybe there is some species, as you would say it, or my way of humanoids, that are maybe feeding people a line of bull, too. Because, you know what? Going up to the general layperson, right, and telling them, we're going to teach you, how we can, solve all these problems isn't going to solve the problem. Okay? It isn't going to happen. But if they went up to the religious, high up in the church, or why don't they sit there and communicate with people? It's going to make a difference. But that's not happening. That's all I'm saying. I'm not slamming our guest tonight because I think both of them have had a lot of good points to what they said tonight. And really, I think you need to go out and look at their books and purchase their books and read it. I think it, everybody has to read this stuff and then digest in their own head.